So sometimes we assume that work should be that fulfilling that you feel like going there. That's totally wrong. Because I don't think even the farmer wants to go and see this big tree growing up and having to prune it. I don't think anybody wakes up and wants to go in the rain and start planting things and getting their feet dirty. Nobody likes farming. They like the fruits. So long as you like the fruits, then you have to deal with the
whatever else is
whatever else
what that duckling deals with under the water.
Man up and do what we have to do and do it very well. And then while you are at it, you use that to be able to catapult you to where you want to be. I don't like this. I work at this while doing that. The ultimate thing that we get out of work is money.
Yeah.
It's the reward that eventually gives us freedom to do the other things we love doing. For us, we wake up every day and all you're trying to do is sell people something. So that really becomes the difference.
How is it going? Selling to people something?
There's never going to be a point where everybody is happy all the time. It's transient. Sometimes things are good, sometimes things are bad, but from the bad we learn, and from the good we appreciate life. So actually the bad is what makes us see the good.
You fell in love with marketing and pursued it.
Okay, when I do something, I want to go the full extent. I find studying and exploring and finding new information very easy for me.
Innocent, how are you today?
Alive.
Of course you're alive.
Yeah, I'm alive. I mean, being alive is the most important thing. So long as you're alive, everything else can be done along the way. So that's how I am. I'm alive and I'm grateful.
We're coming back again with corporate reality check, and today we're talking about career detour and jobbing your love. With us we have Innocent. He's known as Dr. Innocent Nahabwe, and he studied veterinary medicine, and he ended up being a media entrepreneur. So in our conversation today, Innocent is going to tell us more about the detour from medicine to media entrepreneurship and how it's going. But before that, Innocent, be happy to take the floor, to introduce yourself the way you want to be introduced.
Well, I prefer to be known as Innocent. I think that's what most people call me. Most people want, they say Dr. Innocent Nahabwe. Yes, I'm a vet, having graduated from Makerere with a Bachelor of Veterinary Medicine. But my love and practice is, of course, elsewhere in marketing and entrepreneurship. And as such, I see myself more of somebody that tries to hustle than a doctor, really.
So when you're in marketing, you're hustling?
Yeah,
that's what you mean.
Actually, it is hustling. You're trying to sell people something, like you literally. That's.
But who doesn't sell?
Hustling.
Who doesn't sell? Any business in the world does sell.
Yeah, but in marketing, essentially, others do other things. For us, we wake up every day and all you're trying to do is sell people something. So that really becomes the difference.
How is it going? Selling to people something?
There's never, most people grow up and they're pursuing happiness and they're pursuing greatness. But from what I have learned in these many years is there's never going to be a point where everybody is happy all the time. It's transient. Sometimes things are good, sometimes things are bad, but from the bad we learn, and from the good we appreciate life. So actually the bad is what makes us see the good. So I cannot say it is like this, because every day it's a bit different. Yes.
I would want to think that you went into marketing because you suspected that marketing people are always happy, so you wanted to be part of the happy drug.
That's probably true. I started working early when I was in senior 5, senior 6, senior 5 mostly. And as I finished and I was coming now, I was already working for Muri and New Vision. So from 98, 99. And then 2000, when I came to Kampala now to do veterinary medicine, then I was working in Kampala. And that's when MTN was here, Mango was launched, and MultiChoice was becoming a big player, and several others. And it was, the marketing people were really having a ball. They had those double cabin pickups, the phones that were always strung on their waists, and they really looked cool. They could not compare anything close to the bikes that the veterinary people were riding around. So clearly, I was conflicted.
Part of the motivation.
But I was thrown into marketing really accidentally. I was working at the Red Paper, taking pictures. Then I was the editor of the society magazine, 3 a.m. 3 a.m. was the gossip, really the first premium gossip magazine that we had. So I used to move around taking pictures. And by that time, before social media and all these digital things, people used to launch products by doing parties. Launch parties. So we would be at parties with the marketing managers, with these people. So we would be at all those parties and I would engage with the people. So around 2003, 2004 there, Red Paper couldn't hardly get an advert. But then because I had my relationship with the people in marketing, then when I was able to convince them to give us some adverts. So by 2005, by that time I was in 5th year, I was actually on my internship in Yabushozi, where I was doing my internship. Then they called me and told me, can you come back? And I told them, man, I have
to go back to Red Paper.
As in come back to the company, because I had gone away for almost a year doing internship, because the 5th year you do like 3, 4, 5 months, then you go for a whole year doing internship. So I was in Yabushozi for like a whole year almost at Mr. Eric Arhanga's farm and then the whole of that area. So they told me, can you come back? And I think the board had sat and they realized the adverts were not coming. Even when I was there, my adverts were the ones which were the most
sustaining
in the newspaper. So they told me, no, you need to come back. I told them I can't. So they told me, what do you need to come back? I told them, well, you must justify this. And then I had to find a way to keep driving for internship and then coming back. And so I came back and they made me advertising manager. And now because I was in marketing and I was doing marketing, and because everybody who knows Red Paper knew me, they actually thought I was
Red Paper.
I was Red Paper. So because I was doing marketing, then they I realized you would go for meetings and people are talking of those acronyms: return on investment, marketing mix, product mix, 4Ps, and BTL, ATL, and it was confusing. I know the anatomy has the worst, they had the longest words I know. Biochemistry has the hardest words I knew. Pharmacology had but then these were simple words, but it was complicated. So then I tried to teach myself. I bought some books, and then eventually I knew I had to really sit in the class to do marketing, and I ended up enrolling for a master's in marketing at MOOBS, and so that's how I ended up in marketing. But it's not like I sat down and said, really, it was about the cars and the phones and the parties. But
but that was also part of the motivation. So I was going to ask, at what point did you decide, now I don't want to be a vet doctor anymore and want to be, I want to go fully into marketing? By the sound of things, you did not practice vet at all, did you?
The last time I practiced was during internship. I did a few cesareans. Of cows, yes.
They do?
Yeah. And the guys would want to pay you, and they're paying you in the milk. in form of milk. So you do, and they tell you, no,
That
they'll
is
bring
in
you
kind.
milk. They'll give you milk every day, and they tell you if it survives, then you'd go and do a cesarean, and you come back, and you tell them, okay, you need to give them inject antibiotics for 3 days, because you do the cesarean for a cow when it is standing. So it is standing in a crash.
I want
You
to
tie it
imagine how
down,
that
and
cesarean
then
looks
you have
like.
to shave a whole cow because you shave this big. So you do this, and then you're shaving this big because that's how big a cow is. A calf is born at around 49 kilograms. So essentially, you're producing this big. So you do this, and you have to shave this area, and then you cut. And the suturing is actually using siso. It's a lot of work, and you come when really you're bloody, and then you finish, and the guy tells you, you know what?
I'm going to give you
I'm
milk.
going to give you milk. So I by the time I was done, I knew that was not my thing.
You didn't want to work for milk.
I knew, and I understood why. Because you know, when your customer that is not the one paying the money, it becomes a problem because your patient is a cow, your patient is a goat, and I've never seen a goat with moving with money. They are worth the money, but they don't carry the notes. So, and most people don't see it that way. So you tell the person 500,000, tells you, man, if I sell, what if I can even treat it and it dies? So you tell the person, give it antibiotics, and you go there on the third day, and pus is coming out, and you're getting out jerrycans of pus from the wound, and you're like, what happened? You're like, yeah, we're waiting for my son to send me money, and then I'll be able to do the injections, and you're like, okay, this is not what I actually signed up for.
I think I'm really interested in going deep down into the conversation of the cows and having cesareans. It's my first time, by the way, to hear about cows having and
They
goats
do.
also
They
having
even do
cesareans.
drip and everything,
Oh
and
dear.
blood transfusion. Yeah, well, though for them they don't have the blood groups like humans. So
Okay.
so long as the cow has never given the blood, the other one should be able to give another. So it's easier. But yeah, it's interesting.
So apart from you being paid with milk, what else didn't you like about being a vet?
Quite honestly, I think I'm happy at talking to people. I'm not good with dealing with animals. And then people here do not actually respect their animals as much. It's beginning, so you can charge. I mean, when my vet comes to treat my animals, they are asking 300,000, 600,000, and you pay gradually because you don't want your pet to die. But most people would be like, if a dog is sick, or they're like, 200,000, what about... So it's a balance between buying a new dog, getting a new puppy, and yeah, so they can easily wish it away. And even for government, the pay was low. It has been improved today because they do around 4.5 million.
They use 4.5 for who?
Those, of course, at higher levels.
So veterinary also they have specializations?
Yes, no. For us, you have to do everything.
Oh, okay.
Because when they bring you a snake, you treat it. If they bring you a turtle, you treat it. And that's how interesting. If you have a small pet clinic, I used to have one, you'll see somebody showing up with a python. And
here
they tell you, here in Uganda, there are people... the clinic was around Munyonyo, so you'd get people coming with all sorts of things. Find somebody has a monkey, another one has calls you the aquarium, the fish are dying, so then another one calls you because the bees have invaded them, or the bees are not coming to the hive. So you are treating insects.
So you're treating insects and
reptiles
animals.
and animals. So you treat everything. So when I looked at it, I was like, I probably would have stayed, and I think I've not given up on that because I thought I was a good surgeon. Because for me, it looked like a miracle.
Yeah.
Like you put a dog to sleep, you cut it, open it up, remove everything that you're removing. Maybe they would come for spaying, so you remove the ovaries, you remove the uterus, stitch it, and in 1 hour, it's walking away and playing.
So for dogs could be sedated, but cows and goats couldn't be sedated?
Cows don't do very well with anesthesia.
Oh.
because of they have four stomachs. So because of that, they easily accumulate gas,
Mm-hmm.
and that gas can actually kill them if they lie down for a long time. They would it would kill them. It would bloat and actually become very big, and they don't do well with. So the amount of sedation of anesthesia I would give a cat would actually kill a cow. Yeah, so they don't do well with that. So for dogs, you really put it down. You do normal anesthesia,
Cesarean.
yeah, and they do well. They are in an hour it will be walking
It's like a
and
child.
playing. Yeah, it will be walking and playing. So it felt like a miracle. Like you're doing something outstanding, and it felt nice. So there were those beats, but they were far apart. Really, it was better to drive a pickup and have a phone on your and have a phone on your waist.
So you moved and did masters in marketing.
Yes,
And then you did a PhD in marketing.
it's ongoing. It's a struggle. I'm being frustrated. I first tried with University of Dar es Salaam. I was admitted at Dar es Salaam. They insisted on it being you cannot do it distance.
Mm-hmm.
So I would fly into Dar es Salaam, attend the lectures, then I come back. So I would be away for like 2 days a week. I would just find a way. So be here up to like 10 o'clock, go, then find they have finished the first morning session, go in the afternoon, then wait a bit, then after 2 days come back. I realized I asked them, I can do this from here. We can do it was after COVID, so we can do online. They just refused. So I wasted the whole year trying that. So I came back to Makerere. It took me 1 year to get up admission. You first do synopsis, you wait for feedback, then they gave me feedback, then I had to rework the synopsis, then eventually I got admitted after 1 year. Now we started. Now I'm hustling. The supervisors have approved the proposal, so we are working towards data collection and proceeding. So we are on it. It's quite a challenge, but yeah, in marketing.
You mentioned that is real love. I want to think that is real love for the profession. After doing masters, you felt masters wasn't enough. You had to do a PhD in the same marketing and not anything else. Another person would have decided to do an MBA, then they do masters in business administration. I want to think that you fell in love with marketing and pursued it up to that level.
When you do something, when I do something, I want to go the full extent. I don't want to do it halfway. And
is this in everything? Or
in most of the things.
Most of the things.
Yeah, and I find studying and exploring and finding new information very easy for me. A lot of people have trouble passing. Even when I was very crazy, very stubborn, and I never studied senior 4, senior 3. I just jumped to senior 4. I never did senior 6. I was sent away in first term. I came just to do exams, but I still passed. And so passing is not my problem. That has never been my problem, and I like to know. And I like
information.
I like to know, and so there is no other way. It's education and knowledge is an intangible something. The only way you can have something tangible to eat is if you have certification, because there's no other way. You'll say, yes, I'm very good at this, but nobody moves around with an X-ray to find out how good you are. So the only way you can have it is certification. And I think I know enough, probably more than enough in the field of marketing, that I need to then be able to speak to it with confidence and speak to it with a bit of some form of permission. That sometimes you're speaking and people are doubting what you're saying, because often I tend to be easy and naughty and playful. So it's very easy. It's very easy for the assuming person to assume that you clearly are just a clown. But when you have these certifications and this, they know that yes, that guy who is always funny or making noise and whatever, what he's saying actually means something.
Knows. Yes,
and so
this thing.
Studying a little bit more is actually very important. It helps kind of, it's like a form of certification, like the way UNB says this is approved for consumption. So somebody wants to also get approval that you
for what
you're saying, and you'll see it from, you'll see a good quote, and you say maybe, I have a favorite one that says this too will end, because every situation ends eventually. Say this too will end, and I don't know who said it, but if I say this too will end and I say it's my Boda guy Ibra, you won't think about too much of it as if I said this too will end and I'm saying somebody that is known, that is assumed to be an expert in their field. That is so,
because they have known that same things happen and that same things ending.
Yes. So going back to school helps you to achieve that kind of authority. Yeah.
Interesting. So you moved from red paper. What happened to red paper? The story of red paper ended somewhere?
Red paper got many things. It was a story of huge success of that big Ugandan company that then did not achieve its full potential. At one point when we were still at red paper, I think people were trying to buy it. I don't remember whether it was Virgin or something that was trying to buy it for upwards of $5 million. That was a lot of money.
Virgin?
Yeah. The same people of the radio and some other people who are talking to them about that. So it was a unique product. It probably was a blue ocean kind of
I want to think so.
Going to areas nobody had previously explored. It had huge potential. It still does. I think if somebody did red paper now, it would actually do it. But that got, I think that its success became its downfall. It was too successful.
Rise and fall.
Yeah, it was too successful that in itself, nobody probably thought it would fail. And nobody, I think the owners did not see beyond it. It would be easier if something is faltering to have doubts about its success. Yes, the whole world over, print is really going down. But it's very difficult for you to believe that it's going down if your sales are still growing. When everybody's going down, your sales are still going up. So it's very hard for you to realize it's actually
essentially when red paper was, when it was closed, the sales were still high.
It was still doing well.
Oh, interesting.
But no, it was still doing well. Of course, they were affected by interference. The directors got arrested. By the time they came back, the factory got banned. They think it is sabotage. So all those things. But then, if it was something that had developed some resilience and there was a bit of diversification, it would probably have survived. Because it had enough cash and enough fuel. Because cash flow is the reason why businesses survive. So if it had enough cash flow and enough resources, it would be able to bounce back. But it wouldn't. It wouldn't. So that was a bit of a challenge. So once faced with adversity and challenges, it could not be able to bounce back because it did not have the cash flow to continue running.
So I remember a quote that was said by, I think, the CEO of Nokia. He said, "We did nothing, but we failed. We don't know what we did wrong,
yes,
but we failed." Could you relate the same to red paper, or these are things that were seen outside their control? Internally, were they external factors?
There were quite a bit of external factors, but all business is affected by external factors Because even, businesses where I operate in betting, there'll be a new law every 2-3 years that comes to really clamp down on you. Even in media, there is new players. There is the power of social media. There is digital interruptions. There is, because it's disrupting social media, particularly TikTok is disrupting the market, and there is all sorts of other forces that are affecting the market. But when you are in the business and you are always scared that it might actually get a problem, then you plan for a problem all the time, even when the problems are not happening. And like they talk about in Who Moved My Cheese, it's very easy for you to start chasing new cheese when you still have old cheese. So when you still have business and cash flow, it is a lot easier for you to continue running and looking out and starting new things, because the cash they were able to generate would easily have started a new chain of businesses in another industry, in another category. They could probably have been able to diversify, and they should be the ones having the biggest social media, the biggest activation agencies, the biggest. So it could easily have been that. But when something is hugely successful, sometimes all that blinds you to the fact that things are changing. Like there is the whole of the flogging the dead horse.
Yes.
Of
you beat it, but there is nothing changing because the horse is dead.
The horse is dead, and you'll try to say, okay, maybe we need to do a better post-mortem. Then you hire an expert to do post-mortem.
But on a dead horse.
The thing is dead. Then you say, okay, maybe we need to hang it. Maybe we need to see what else we can do with this. Ultimately, it is dead. But it is hard for you to see it is dead because it is your own horse. So
I'm sure it's very painful to know that something is dying on you, and you just.
It is very, very painful.
So, Innocent, moving from a vet, did internship, went into Red Paper as a marketer, and then now is an entrepreneur, media entrepreneur, Galaxy. How did Galaxy get birthed?
It was quite interesting. Like most of the businesses that I have happened to be involved in, most of them have happened accidentally. Some people think I planned and sat, and then I would have added some bit of salt in the story to say that. We used to do a business, Blue Cube. So Blue Cube is the parent company. And we came in and were able to discover subscription, where before Facebook and websites being, because there was Yahoo News, but it was accessible. Remember, you only had 1.125 kbps data plans for internet. Internet was not everywhere.
I could relate with what you're saying.
Yeah. We are old, but yeah, it is okay. So internet was not there. The phones, the best they could do is MMS.
Yeah.
So for you to access, you can imagine to get a Bible quote. If you didn't have a Bible, you had to either look for the Bible.
Which is the best option to get a Bible.
Which is maybe, or really ask your friend who probably remembers the quote. But for us, we made sure the Bible was, for example, available online, but not online as it is, because you only had the cabinet and you could just SMS. So we would SMS us the Bible verse, and then we would send you what is in that verse. You could, if you wanted horoscope. By that time, horoscope was a big thing. Every day, people didn't know how their fortune will turn, so they would people would ask for horoscope and would process the horoscopes every day, and we send people. So they would ask, and then we give them. So most of them communication around that time. If the results, if you didn't have DSTV to know that a match has been played and these were the scores, now you just scroll and you see the scores, or you Google. That wasn't there. So the match would be played, and by the next day you don't know whether you are there. You don't know whether to be happy or sad.
But they would listen to radio, not so.
Yeah, but you are assuming that you have radio. The stations which were only doing radio were, doing the matches were maybe 2 or 3. Like, it has happened so fast that some of these things we talk about and you're like,
can't remember
like how can this be true? But that's how it was. So getting your match. So for somebody to know whether they have scored or not, the only live score, which you just now have on the phone, was by you sending a message.
And you tell them.
And then they get back a message to say current results. Arsenal 2, Man U 0. And that's how you'll get. So people would have to ask.
Just a minute, for a game of 90 minutes, if I want to keep updated in the 90 minutes,
you keep asking.
After 20 minutes, I ask, how far now?
Yes.
How far now?
Yes, you'd say update Arsenal and send to our short code. It was 8777. Then we send you that current 0-0, whatever. If there's a score, this person has scored.
And you had a system that was doing
that.
It was
so
manual.
We had back end people who are seated. Because for us we had direct connection, so we would have even the scores. You know, the match that you see on TV is actually delayed by like a minute. So for us, we would have those scores in real time because we were using app services, which were subscription services available in the UK and others for the matches that are happening in real time. So we started from that, and so around 2009. My partner who is
2009.
Yes. Okay. So my partner who then was is still a tech. So we decided and said, okay, we already subscribe for other things. How come we don't subscribe for these services? And so he developed an application, a way for us to provide subscription services. Like you can say, I want Arsenal update. So whenever Arsenal is playing, send me updates. You don't have to ask for them. And that became a big business and saved us the hassle of having to remind people and so they can ask you. And because to do that, we had to ask to go to advertise.
Yeah.
So we went to Sanyu at the time and asked Betsy, who was based in Mugambi, who used to be the general manager, for a quotation for advertising for 6 months. And the quotation was, I think, around 300 million. So we asked, okay, if it is 300 million, how sustainable is this? So I was like, what if we had our own radio station? So I had a colleague who used to work for New Vision. I asked him, how much would it cost? Then I went online and said, Googled companies which provide radio equipment. At that time, I don't understand the other details of how they actually get. So I went and searched how they get radio equipment. I saw Elnos and I saw BSW, which provides studio equipment, etc. So I asked them for a quote, stupidly, that please provide for us a quotation for the best equipment for a small radio station in Africa. And Elnos sent through a quotation, BSW sent through a quotation. And that is the money was upwards, I think it was around $50,000, $60,000 for broadcasting, and then for the studio around. So in total, it was coming to around, I think, 300 or something, thereabout million. So I was like, oh, I think we are better off, instead of us paying this in advertising, we are better off getting a radio station. Of course, I did not know what was awaiting us. So the equipment comes. Actually, the Italians think that we are actually joking. They're like, who does this? Because they send the quotation, send the money, they ship the equipment.
You sent the money.
Yes.
They sent the quotation, you sent the money, and they ship the equipment.
They ship the equipment.
No details in between.
Nothing in between. We had never talked. I think there was an earthquake there around that time, 2012, 2011, I think. 2011. So I think they wondered, who does this? Like, who does this? I was naive because I think I was young, but also, I don't know. I just assumed. So they actually sent a sales agent to come with the equipment.
To Africa and see.
So some guy called Julio or something came in and called me and told me, I want to come to Africa. Where are you located? And shared, and then came, I picked him up from the airport. I was like, we thought actually you were joking. We want to go and see where this is going to be set up. So we set up a studio and we did not have a license.
Did you have space for the studio?
Yeah, we had already. By that time, we were a small team of around 6. So where the office is, I was only sitting at that place. Everybody else was sitting in town. So me, I was sitting at where, because we bought a small place and wanted to occupy it as offices. But people preferred to work in town.
Yeah.
Me, I told them, we can't continue paying rent, yet we have offices. So I'm moving. And I moved. They came to join me maybe 2 years after. So I was there like for a whole year working from here. I'd just go down for meetings and then come to the office. So I am there and we set up. Now we realize we don't have a license. So I go apply for a license at UCC and they tell me the frequencies are done. To access a frequency in this town is upwards. As of now, to get a frequency in Kampala, you would probably fork out around 2 billion shillings. Probably more.
We are talking about 2011.
Just 2011. So we didn't know who to actually approach. So there were brokers in there and we ended up being conned. Somebody said they had a license and naively told us, somebody told us they had a license. So they told me, this is how much money we would pay for it. So I went, met him at Africana, and the guy opened his boot. There were those, I think, E190 Mercedes around that time. So you press and the boot opens.
And you knew
so he told
this
me
guy has the license.
There is a car, it has opened, put the money there, he locked. We waited for the license, he switched off his phones, end of story. So we started again now looking for a license afresh. Eventually we got a license. And then now we didn't know what to do with the radio. Because every consultant we hired, the best at the time, came and they told us the market is saturated. I don't think there is
always a story to tell.
Yeah, and then they told us I had even reached a time when I thought we could be able to do Runyankore. I was thinking in Kampala with the only 9% Baganda, the Banyankore are like 7, but there are so many radio stations talking to. But everybody told me these things just don't work. I told them we can mix the languages. They said it doesn't work. So accidentally one day we were running a nightclub at the time called Amnesia. So we sat there with who at the counter with some guy who used to work for the New Vision. Bill Tivingana. He left, so I probably don't have to hide that he used. So we were at the bar and he told me, we need to look for a market gap. So he asked the lady who was in the counter. She's called Hafi now. She works for, I think, NBS. So she gives us a serviette and gives us a pen. At the counter, in the noise of the nightclub.
Yes.
And plots radio stations in Kampala against age, against language. And we found all of them, when we plotted them, all of them were actually in either of the two places. Either they were speaking local Uganda, so the likes of CBS, Debe, Beat, Simba, all of them were speaking, all totally Uganda, like heavy Uganda, playing local music band. By that time there was Eagles production, it was the Beleva, Gordon production, Charles Sechewa, etc. So that kind of band music and whatever. Or they were heavily English with people with funny accents, so you had probably either have been in an international school or trying to pretend you did. So we had the likes of Sanyu, XFM, Hot 100, City, and all these radio stations were all. So there was nothing in between.
There was nothing hybrid.
So there was nothing in between to the guy who is on the street, works in the markets, somebody who knows English but prefers to speak Uganda, whose Uganda is not the first language, you don't actually understand the Visoko and others. So that kind of guy. And we were like, who's talking to him? So I actually walked out to Bobby Wine, met him at Serena and told him, okay. So he mapped it up and said there is a gap here, a place for the ghetto, for the ghetto guy, for the guy who is out there, who is a hustler, who is trying to make it in life. And life is very hard for them, but they are trying to really make it in life. So we're like, who would that be? We're like, yeah, ghetto radio. And then in search, there was another ghetto radio in Kenya. There was another ghetto radio in Jamaica. So we kind of saw the characters. So he's like, yeah, there is space there. So the next day I called, I told him, okay, remember, I have not paid him. All I did was buy him a beer. He was actually the one buying. So afterwards, I now bought him a beer. I said, I kept the serviette in the morning, told my partners, I met somebody.
We
It is
have
interesting,
something.
but it is
Yes.
something. And I put out until the Soviet. I tried to explain, like, it wasn't exactly making sense. Said, if you believe in it, just do it. So I went to bars. AY was in Makinde. I got a gang of guys. AY. There was another bar called Game Something around Karewe. Those people who had those karaoke and comedy nights. So I went to those places and gathered a horde of guys who used the raw.
Were they ghetto-like kind of people that you targeted?
There is where really life is lived on the fingertips. And then tried to put together a ragtag team and put them, and then went through interviews and had to do trials. And because they already had run for like 1 year with nothing. Because if you have a license, you have to use it within the year, otherwise the license goes. So we were just playing music. So
was it on air for the audience, or you used to listen?
There was like testing signal, but sometimes you switch off, sometimes you switch on, like that. So eventually, I was like, I told these guys, I think this can work. And got some guys from the radio, gathered a bunch of guys, and we went there and we were trying to do training. In the meantime, I was trying to talk to the guy who I had interacted with as a consultant before, to say, this is the thing, let's get it going. And in that process, guys are training. Now I tell them, okay, let's train as if it's live. So there's A and B when you look on the console. So you press A is really is when you are live. B, you are as if live but not really live. So the recorders, you can be able to hear what, but then it's not live. So one morning I'm leaving the nightclub. We're running Club Amnesia at the time. So I'm leaving, and I get phone calls from my partner and says, have you heard what your people have done? I'm like, what?
Live.
They're like, they are live.
You went live?
Yes. Accidentally. Somebody pressed the wrong button. So it goes live and it's accidental. So I'm like, So he was not very happy. I'm like, what do I do? And I'm tired. It's been a long night. Remember, I would work day at the Blue Cube, and in the evening I go to work in the nightclub. And so I was leaving like at 6, really. You're really trying to get into bed. And so I'm driving back, and my head tells me, I tune in and I'm listening. And I'm like,
was there anything or just music now?
No, they were talking.
Did they know that they were live?
Yeah, I don't know whether they knew they were alive, but we had agreed they do it as if they are alive.
Yes, okay.
So there was Kere was a comedian around that time.
Was Afande Kere.
Afande Kere. There was Little Joe, and there was, I think, some other person. The producer around was some guy called Tamari. So they had gone live. So as I'm driving, I kept listening in, and I'm like, we are probably better than most stations who are on air.
Yes.
So I called him back and I said, Sebo, I know, but we cannot kill initiative. These people have initiative. How long are we going to remain like this? So I told him, let's give it a try. So that was like crunch time. Like I would leave the nightclub and camp there because people are doing the wrong thing. Sometimes somebody doesn't know how to switch on the mic, so you come, and somebody doesn't know how to switch off the mic. So essentially a raw team. I didn't want anybody who had worked anywhere else. So I had my raw team of like 20 guys. There was Kapari who came and then abused everybody and was too vulgar, and we had to switch them off. And UCC came saying, who gave you permission to go live? Because when you're going live, then you have to inform UCC. And we worked through the process, and that's how the radio was born.
That was the birth of Galaxy.
Yes.
That right now is the #1 listened to radio station in Kampala.
That's true.
How does that make you feel?
I don't know. So how we move is every new peak, because we became #1 within a year. We actually, the only awards around that time for radio were Buzz Awards, and we got the Buzz Awards from that time till they ended. They stopped running as the most preferred radio station for young people. The truth is, everybody should have known that there are a lot of young people in this town. They just assumed, they didn't know which young people. So all of them, all the radio stations were saying young people, but they're talking
the young people are not defined.
They were talking to some smaller section of young people. So you have 100 trying to do mostly Jamaican, etc., etc. You have Sanyu trying to do as if British. Then you have XFM really keeping it as if American. So with the rap, trap, and others. So everybody seemed to want to not be Ugandan. And we are here saying we are 100% Ugandan. We knew the shows at that time were selling out. Chameleon, Bob Wine, Bebe Cool, Juliana, Irene Namubiru. Those are the guys that really were there at the time. We, of course, were able to bring on the market some interesting people like Captain Dora, who came in with Messe and Ziza Bafana and others who only us would be able to give a chance. Fik Famaika came in, KD Keynes around 2014, I think, thereabout. So we're able to then, because people would run around looking for where to actually have
So I'm here imagining if I could relate with the names that you're mentioning, but I mean, those are names for Galaxy.
Yeah, so those are guys. And it was crazy stuff. And so we had identified a niche. We had fallen on a good well and were able to milk it hugely.
So how does that make you feel today as Innocent? Who started that from where? What you explained?
Like every new height is the start of a new
journey.
A new journey. So I don't dwell so much on the peak because I know it's temporary. And usually the peak is a small, if you look at the hill, the peak is a small area. So you enjoy the journey and go with it, and now you hit number one. And maybe for a day or two it feels good, but then afterwards you're like, man, you see across the horizon and there is a new peak. How I can tell you it, yes, of course I cannot be dismissive and say it's a small feat because I know I work with a wonderful team of people who work every day to make sure.
And it also seems like it has been really a journey.
Yeah, it's quite a journey. But where I know it, how big it is like 5 or 6 years ago, before Bob Wine joined the politics, we met. I think it was his birthday, so we had a birthday for him at Amnesia, and he told me, by the way, do you know I was supposed to be part of this thing? And I remember I actually sat with him at the Serena, and I told him, we are starting a radio station. We are giving you 10%. All you have to do is, because actually, even if you check now, our shareholding is still 30, because the 10 was supposed to be for him. And he refused. He was like, that's a new project. So he was like, do you know, by that's supposed to be my thing. And I looked back and I was like, yeah, see what you actually missed. And it was for free. All he had to do was show up and say, this is my thing. And he didn't. And so you could see he looked at it as a lost opportunity. For us who have been part of the journey, it looks like it just happened. But for anybody else, you'll be like, man, I would have been part of a big thing.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. So now, talking about the career detour, now we've talked about how you move from vet, marketer, media entrepreneurship with the whole story. By the way, it's a story that you listen to and you're like, I have to have the audacity to do this. I know there are very many people out there who are struggling in the job that is not profiting them. Your detour, it looks like jobbing the love that profits you as well. Because I could also love to teach kindergarten, but when I'm not going to have the money, kindergarten is not going to pay me the money. It's not going to profit me as much. Not that it doesn't profit you as much. What would you tell a young person out there? Maybe not young, maybe 30, 35, 40, and they want to detour.
First of all, I don't think there's any particular time where it is too late for you to make the shift. I think it is perfectly fine for you to make the shift so long as you eventually find it fulfilling. Because you're not here forever. Like, people have been here for now 2,000 something years. 2,000, probably more, so many years. So we are only going to be here for
Okay,
at
we
the
don't
very
know.
best
We don't know.
maybe 100. I don't
We
think
don't
anything,
know.
any miracle is going to happen. So
Yes.
it's we are here just for a very short time. And how useless can life be if for that short time that you live here, you actually not do what you want to do, what you love to do. So I think everybody should be able to do what they love to do, regardless of when it actually happened. The guy who started KFC, Colonel Sanders, did it when he was 60 after retirement, and everybody said you were even a bad cook, even recipe was sent away. So I think anybody can do what they want to do anytime. The best thing is, wherever you are, at whatever age, wherever you are, essentially it's very important for you to understand what your why is, the real purpose, as the reason of being. And all of us have that. Most of us are blown by the wind. Most of the things we do as young people, we do because of our parents.
Yeah.
So most of our parents want to live their failed dreams within us.
So
if somebody wanted to be a doctor and then they couldn't have made it, but they still thought they would have been a good doctor, the default is to say, my son should be a doctor. When you already saw the planes flying over and you really want to be, you think somebody can be up there and wave at you and say, that's my son. You now want to come and you force the guy, and especially when you get money.
You have to be a pilot.
You have to be a pilot. But the current crop of people, it's now really possible that anybody can be anything so long as they choose and find that that's where their fulfillment in life is.
And it also profits them.
Yeah, but it takes quite a bit of effort for you to be able to soul search and find what that why is, what that purpose is. There's a small book called Ikigai, which defines what you like. And so if you can be able to then be able to critically analyze and you find out those things that you love doing, the things that you actually are good at, and the world needs and the world is ready to pay for, then, and you find an intersection that something you like doing, that the world is willing to pay for.
You like doing, the world needs it, and the world is willing to
pay for it, and you're good at it. Because you can love doing it, but then...
But you're not good at it.
Yeah, like the way you said, you can love doing kindergarten, but it's probably not paying as much as you'd want. And probably you're not even good at it. So then you become that bad teacher that people used to talk about. So long as you find that kind of combination, eventually you have totally defined what your Ikigai is. And when you find your why, it doesn't matter how old you are. And now people are able to do that. Previously, most of us are first generation, not poor people. Like one generation back were very poor, that even the poor called us poor. So we have this big desire to acquire and accumulate everything and anything that crosses our path. The next generation has not lived into that deep poverty. So you don't find somebody having 10 cars in their compound. Now you will go somewhere and you find they have a car in the village, a car, whatever, cars parked everywhere, which they don't even use. But in their head, they are like, man, I used to walk this long distance. At church, they used to step on me.
Satisfaction.
So that satisfaction
it fills for the void of the past.
Is for that. But the current crop of people have not gone through that. They can as well live without a car. They can as well live without a fancy title.
What happens
for us, titles matter. For them, it doesn't. So because of that, then for them, they're able to then choose who they want to be. You find somebody wants to be an artist, even if he's not earning so much at it, he just reduces his cost. And you find them in the ghetto, he's happy. Just drawing pictures, even if nobody's buying them, but he's drawing pictures. He's happy. And I think that's the sense of fulfillment, because a lot of us are there in pursuit of success, and then success is elusive. Nobody really finally gets it. So what's the point?
Because we've defined success from other people's lens.
Yes, and it's of course it's a bigger challenge now with social media, because we have a lot of sad people with happy pictures, and there are lots of them, and they are moving around with happy pictures that make us look like
you're sad.
Like our lives
you're really sad.
Really like you think you're the worst, but that's not true. That's not true.
So, Innocent, as we are concluding, I see that gentleman has indicated.
Mm.
How do we deal with the fears? As who want to detour, how do we deal with the fears? And the fears come in very many forms. First of all, the financial bit of it, the capability of you managing to detour to another industry or another, your love, your purpose. Secondly, family. There is also family pressure. You know, you cannot separate yourself from family even when you try to. Then there is also societal expectations. They know Innocent have been, that man, a son of, they will define, he went to school to study vet, now he's doing, is in bars, that societal expectations and pressure. How would a person who wants to take a different direction, manage that?
We are slaves of society. We find ourselves slaves of people. Yet at our worst time, a lot of those people will not be there. There is something that I have realized, that those people who matter don't care. And often those who care don't matter. And often you find ourselves trying to appease people who are not even looking. You're trying to be there and fulfilling people's dreams and lives and expectations of you.
Their expectations of you.
Of you. Like, even if you did your very best, sometimes you just can't simply do enough. So it takes quite a bit of deep thinking for you to be able to break the chains, literally, and say, I'm not going to be a slave of what the society believes and expects of me. Often, actually, that society is not looking. It doesn't care. You know when you actually realize this? Is if it ever happens and you have an office and you don't have that office, you wake up and you actually check your phone and wonder whether your phone died.
No one is calling.
Like, nobody's calling you. And the people who are always calling you, hey, I don't like your picture. How did you do this? Thank you, congratulations. Who are congratulating you all the time? You're like, where are they now? They are all living their lives. They don't care. They don't. So usually it's a balance, of course. We don't live in isolation. But once you break those chains and you say, I'm liberated from what these people are thinking, then you're able to do things that you actually love doing. But also beyond that, it's always good for you to start with what you have to be able to work with for what you want.
Coming to the financial bit of it.
Yes. Not the financial bit, but even society and other things. So even socially. So you want the title, you want the role. So you can be a doctor. But you always wanted to be a lawyer. It doesn't hurt for you to actually
to be a doctor,
to go and practice law, medicine, but find time and study to be a lawyer and continue to practice medicine while you're trying to perfect the other one. And eventually, when the other one is able to sufficiently carry you, then you can as well win from this. They'll probably laugh and say, see this guy, because they don't know. And sometimes you don't even have to prove them, because the moment you try to prove people, that's where we go wrong. Because it's like dancing in front of a blind person. And you're because they're busy. Everybody is busy. And the sooner we get to know that those people actually don't matter and liberate ourselves, the better. But the best thing is, of course, work within what you have. So if you are a teacher, for example, and you hate teaching, you don't have to just wake up and say, I'm no longer going to teach. And some people do that.
Because I don't love it.
I don't love it.
I love
and
cooking.
Younger people want to do that. They say, I don't like this. So they just give up and go home, and you ask him, I'm depressed. The job was not fulfilling, so I'm home. I mean, that's kind of crazy.
And it's happening now. Sadly, it's happening now.
So the best thing is to say, I don't like this. I'll work at this while doing that. But also, I have learned that you can actually, the ultimate thing that we get out of work is money. It's it's the reward that eventually gives us freedom to do the other things we love doing. I don't know whether when you look at like a janitor, the guy who cleans the toilet, that you can say, man, this guy loves his work. That he wakes up every day cheering up to come and clean toilets. I don't think they feel that way.
I also don't want to think so.
Yeah, and so many people, so sometimes we assume that work should be that fulfilling, that you feel like going there. That's totally wrong. What they pay you and the results and whatever comes with it is what, if we look at the results and the fruits, because I don't think even the farmer wants to go and see this big tree growing up and having to prune it and cut it, whatever. I don't think anybody wakes up and wants to go in the rain and start planting things and getting their feet dirty. Nobody likes farming. They like the fruits. So long as you like the fruits, then you have to deal with the
whatever else is
whatever else
what the duckling deals with under the water.
Yeah, so it is what it is. So we have to sometimes man up and do what we have to do that God has given us. Whoever you believe gave it to us. And you deal with it and do it very well. And then while you're at it, you use that to be able to catapult you to where you want to be. Yeah.
That has been a very interesting conversation, Innocent. I don't want us to go further than this. And needless to say, if you want to detour from what you're doing to something else that you love, firstly, you have to manage the society, you have to manage family, you have to use what you have right now to create what you need tomorrow. So if you've been there and worried, how do I move from finance to marketing? How do I move from medicine to marketing? Now, I want to think that people love marketing so much. I am a marketer, but there is one with a PhD here. So if you're there, you're in finance and you're struggling, you want to be in marketing, use what you have and take some courses in marketing. Career detouring is not hard. You have to job your love. Thank you, Innocent.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.